You gotta trust the process. When you actually trust the process, you are able to work in a flow state continuously. And from that flow state, you already know deep down what your desires are. You already know exactly what you want. Therefore, if you're able to just trust the process and actually genuinely trust the process, then you are able to make great movements toward your desired goal. And whenever you start thinking about how you're going to get there, that's okay. Be analytical about it, but don't approach the how you're going to get there from the mentality of it's so hard to get, it's so hard to do. And don't let the root of your analytics for how to get there be the worry that you won't get it. Because if your analytics are coming from the worry of not getting it, then the energy that you're pouring into it whenever you actually have the goal right in front of you, you're not going to get it. See, like, the best example I could give you is if you like someone, if you have a crush on someone, if you are planning and planning and planning, now maybe this has worked for you, but nine times out of 10, it's not going to work. If you're planning so hard on how you're going to talk to the person, what you're going to say, what you're going to do, what you're going to dress, it is exponentially harder to actually get into the flow state whenever you're actually talking to that person, hoping that they're going to like you. Because all of these analytics, you're looking at it from a lens of lack. You're currently in the pendulum of lack. Your energy swing, the feel of your energy is sitting there in lack. And I want to talk about the pendulum swing as well. Whenever you're on this pendulum swing, you're on this certain set of energy, right? And on that pendulum swing of energy, you attract certain outcomes that are in line with that energy. So if you are in the pendulum of doubt, negativity, upsettedness, you're going to attract outcomes that will procreate doubt, upsettedness, and negativity. You're going to procreate that from that pendulum. But the thing about these pendulums, though, is as you're on one pendulum, you're able to shift to another pendulum, and then from there shift to another pendulum, and so on. You're on an infinite amount of pendulums throughout the day. Your energy is constantly changing, and that's really what that means. So the key is to get into the flow state, get into the flow state pendulum, where you can actually trust the process. Because the biggest thing about manifestation and creating your dreams is to simply trust that you have it. Like, you hear a lot of people talk about have it in the moment, feel as if you have it right now. And that was honestly really hard for me to do, because how can I feel something which I don't have? And then I found this, I read this book called, I read it like 3 or 5 times, something like crazy. It was called Your Invisible Power by Genevieve Barron. And man, that thing changed the way that I saw manifestation, how to attract things into your life, how to get what you want effortlessly. And it wasn't just saying like you gotta live in the state. I mean, it lightly mentioned that you need to live in the state, but sometimes it's hard to convince yourself that you have something when you don't, because these negative times will arise where you're like living in doubt, fear, like it hasn't come yet. And if you're going to live in that state of it hasn't come yet, then you're going to continuously live in that state of it's not coming to me. It's just going to procreate that, because if you get hooked onto that pendulum of doubt, then you're going to start attracting a lot of outcomes that are aligned with that pendulum, that energetic state. It's all going to be aligned in doubt. So what this book taught me, it taught the action of trust. It taught the action of living presently and trusting the divine creative force that flows through you. The same divine creative force that gives you air, that gives you life. The same creative force that allows for trees to grow, that allows plants to come up out of the ground, that allows for everything. In a sense, you could say that this divine creative force is the infinite consciousness of the universe. You could say that it's God. You could say that it's the all, or the universe, or whatever. And since you are a part of God or the universe, then that divine creative force is constantly flowing through you. And if you have the firm understanding that the divine creative force is flowing through you, you don't need to worry, because as man thinketh in his heart, so is he. It says that in the Bible, and that is one of the best Bible scriptures I've ever heard. Because as you think, as you feel deep down of what you are, that is what you're going to attract. And let's talk about this on like a more psychological point of view. If you think you're an anxious person, if you think you're a negative person, you literally think this stuff, you know it, maybe you don't know it, but either way, if you think that you're an anxious person, you're going to act like an anxious person. It's like, of course you are. In a social setting, you know, you're going to be reminded like, oh, I fucked up that one time, right? Like, I'm probably going to fuck up again this time. And that's where simply trusting the process comes in. Get out of your head. Get out of the moment. Your subconscious and unconscious already know exactly what you want to have. So stop worrying about it. Since your subconscious and unconscious already know what you want, the only thing that blocks you from attaining it is your egos, your doubtful thoughts, your fearful thoughts. That is the only thing that's blocking you from attaining all of that. You need to be, do, and have the thing that you want. And you can't be, do, or have it if you're stressing about not having it. So don't worry about the how or the why. Like why it's not working, why you can't do it. Don't worry about that stuff. Temporarily throw that stuff out the window. Obviously, if you have a lot of baggage, if you have a lot of baggage, if you have a lot of stuff that you need to work on, do some clearing first. Clear that out. Understand that it's within you. Understand that it's a part of you. Accept that it's within you. Accept that it's a part of you and move on. Because you can't reject feelings of upsettedness. All you can do is accept them. And once you're able to accept them, you can actually move on. How can I explain this? If you reject something, then you are giving credibility, you're giving weight to that something which is upsetting you. But if you accept it, you're able to sit back, notice whenever it arises, and choose to not identify with it. If you're able to accept it, then you're able to choose how you react to it whenever that time comes. So put this example on the pendulums. You're on the pendulum of doubt, right? You're on the pendulum of negativity. Realize that you're on that. Realize that it's existent. Realize that it's a thing. Understand that it's a part of you, and choose to not connect with it. Once you just have an understanding, it's simple as that. Once you have an understanding that life is energy, you're constantly moving across many, many planes of emotion. You're always moving. If you understand that, then you become a creator of your reality, because you can just simply see like, okay, I'm attracting this right now because I am feeling very confident. I'm feeling super good about myself. So I'm able to attract all these wonderful things. But anyway, confidence isn't even what I want to focus on here. I want to focus on trusting the process. Trusting that the divine creative nature flows through you. Trusting that your subconscious works for you exactly as you tell it to. Your subconscious works for you whenever you think negative thoughts. It's going to unconsciously make you act in a negative way. And it will also unconsciously make you act out positive things. The subconscious is similar to, the creator. It doesn't stop a baby from dying. It doesn't stop something atrocious from happening. It happens, and it's unfortunate, but your subconscious is the same way. It's a servant for you. Your subconscious is your servant. It acts exactly what you are putting into it and what you are choosing to identify yourself with. It's a big keyword, your identity. Whatever you choose to absorb into your identity is what you will attract. So whenever you're a little kid, if something bad had happened to you and you hold all this negative weight about it, then you are going to identify like, oh man, I am this person, I am this, I am that. Or you can just accept it and move on. That's really what the whole point of life is to accept all of the traumas, accept all of the pain that we have in our hearts, and move on from it. Accept it. Don't reject it. Trying to reject stuff just will come from the place of its existence. And if you try to reject something negative, you're going to fuel that rejection with resentment, anger, rage, and whatever you're transmuting that energy into the new outcome of something proportional to what that negative feeling once was. Because if you try to reject something, you're just putting a temporary band-aid over it. You're not actually fixing it from the core. If you reject a negative feeling, say, oh, I can't think that, I can't do that, you're just rejecting it. Because the rejection, you forcing on a new mental state, is going to be something that's formed from the resentment that you carry towards that state. So all you can do is accept it and choose to not go with it. One thing that I've seen to help me a lot, so much, is choosing to see people as enjoyable. This is kind of off topic, but just trust the process. If you see people as enjoyable, then you're literally going to see the world so much more brighter. You're going to be able to work with people so much better. You're going to be so much more tolerable towards people. You're going to be nicer towards people. If you just choose to see people like, hey, they got their problems, I got mine, it's okay. If you choose to accept someone for who they are, the world becomes so much more enjoyable because you're not seeing and picking apart all of the bad little things that they do. Because the way that you see someone is probably 10 times different from the way another person sees them. Like a person who's providing for his family, providing for his mother maybe she's sick. This guy is going to be a saint in his mother's eyes. And you may see this person as just an awful person that you don't want to be around. But if you choose to see them as a saint, see no wrong, see no evil. Monkey hear no evil, see no evil, do no evil, whatever. The three monkeys. You got to choose to see people as good and understand that they have hardships in their life as well. So you can't just judge everyone. You got to see people as enjoyable. And a little side note, not seeing people as enjoyable, seeing people as angry or bad or wrong or whatever is actually a sign that you have a lot of pent-up anger in your heart. It's because whenever you have a lot of pent-up anger in your heart, you tend to see the world as more aggressive. You tend to see the world, because that's something that we do, is whenever we have a shadow that we haven't overcome yet, if we feel a lot of anger in our heart, then we project it out onto other people rather than accepting it within ourselves. Because in the Hermetic principles, under the law of mentalism, you are the cause and the effect. You are creating your reality through your mentality. So it's not really genuinely not that people are evil, it's that you choose to see them as evil. That's really what it's all about. We choose to see people as evil whenever we don't have to. And think about that in the long run. If you're seeing people as evil, if you're seeing people as hard to work with, if you're seeing people as bad, then you're going to unconsciously self-sabotage yourself. Because if you think the world is bad around you, guess what's going to happen? There's going to be bad outcomes in your life because you're unconsciously walking in the path. You're on that pendulum swing of negative energy. You're going to unconsciously act like people are bad. It's almost as if like we all do this. We'll sometimes put a demon on another person. We say like, this person is this person is that. They're so bad. Whenever it's not necessarily true, we're just choosing to see them like that. And we're putting a spirit over them. Anytime that they're around us, we put a demon on them and we see all of these little things that they could possibly do wrong, whatever that may be. And if we see all these little things, we don't see any good in them, then we respond to the dark side of them. You bring to light whatever you respond to. Your world, your view is a reflection of your inner state. Because you bring to life whatever you lay your eyes upon. If you see a person as evil, just so bad, so wrong, then you're going to pick apart everything that they do, and you're going to think that everything that they do is wrong. And guess what? So like, apply this to a politician. I know that politics is a big topic. I'm pretty indifferent. I don't necessarily have one direction or another towards politics. But take a politician, for example. If you think a politician is super bad, super evil, super wrong, like in America, you're either left or right, pretty much. It's like you either hate or love someone. It's pretty unwise. But if you see a politician as all they do is wrong, then guess what? You're going to focus on all of the policies that's bad. And if you like a politician, you're going to focus on all of the policies that's good. And you proceed to see the world in that lens of what you've created and chosen to identify with, what you've chosen to identify the person with. Therefore, you're letting this person create your reality, which, by the way, is something we need to talk about later. You can't ever put someone above you because you are the creator of your reality. You shouldn't say like, oh, Trump did this, so now I can't have fun. You should never, ever, ever say that, because it's like you're worshiping a false god. It's like putting something above you is like letting them control you. Like, oh, I can't do that because Biden did this. No, wrong. You can do whatever you want. You can. You really can. In this life or the next, you will be able to. And that's really what it's all about. It's all about the perspective that you see. So don't see people as evil or negative, because you're going to see all the bad and evil things that they do, which everyone fucks up. Everyone makes mistakes. If you see someone as only negative, then you're going to talk to them in a negative light, and you're going to unconsciously promote them to do things that upset you. It's just how it is. It's how in psychology, it's how the brain works. If you pick apart everything negative that someone does, then you're going to be negative around that person. It's like logic, and it's very spiritual at the same time. Anyway, I hope that helps.